Dean Rose. Mr. Rose, thank you so much for being here. There's the magazine, Foreign Affairs. Now, Gideon, help me out here. We've got a battle. The Ukraine, some of them want to go into the EU, the European Union,
right?
And some of them want to stay with Russia. If the Ukraine's not in Europe right now, what continent is it on?
Well, it's part of Eurasia, but it's part of Eastern Europe and the former Soviet bloc. It's basically Robin to Russia's Batman. And the challenge here is to try to attract it to the West, to get it to flip sides.
So the rebels in the streets, what are they fighting for?
They're fighting for a better future. Countries have a development...
That sounds like a political speech.
No, but it's actually true. Countries have to develop over time. And Ukraine, basically, after the end of the Soviet Union, faced two tracks. It could stay a sort of stagnant, corrupt, authoritarian country tied to Russia, or it could essentially join the West. It could modernize, liberalize, become a democracy. At the last minute, when it looked like it was going to trade up from its sort of abusive relationship with its boyfriend from the hood to a nice yuppie...
You're not loading these choices in any way whatsoever.
It's actually true. When it looked like it was going to trade up to a better environment, at the last minute, Putin offered a bribe.
How much?
$15 billion.
That's a lot of cash,
It's a lot of cash. And the president, who himself was tied to the old elites and the eastern part of the country with ties to Russia, decided to back off the change and go join Russia.
Do you know how many pirate-themed restaurants you can buy with $15 billion?
The problem was the western parts of the country and the younger parts of the country and the more modern liberal parts of the country basically knew that they had no future being Russia's vassal. So they took to the streets.
Is America taking sides in this in any way? If these people, the rebels are winning right now, right?
Yes, just recently.
Why isn't Obama spiking the ball in the end zone and calling Putin and saying, hey, you might have won the medal count, but we won the country count, biatch?
It's actually a very good question, and the answer is that we don't want Russia to intervene and kick over the table like a game of Risk and take Ukraine back. And so
would they do that? Could he send in troops?
Yes, he could. So we are choosing...
Does Ukraine have any troops of their own? Would they fight back?
Yes, but we don't want this to escalate, and we don't want Russia to crack down. So we want to basically distract Russia. Oh, look, you have the highest medal counts. Oh, you did really well. And focus on the Olympics.
Here's a shiny object. We'll just take an entire country away from you.
Basically.
Okay.
Now, wild.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
It's just wild that that's like a humorous thing that everybody thought was outside the realm of possibility. And now here we are.
Right. Right.
8 years later, it's actually happening.
It is happening. And you see the drivers of this, when we talk about the military-industrial complex, it's not just the United States, because the longer this goes on, the more NATO is strengthened. I think two other countries, was it Finland and Sweden, have just joined NATO as a result of this. These big arms deals are also happening with NATO. The major producers of these weapon systems are coming from the military-industrial complex here. So there are a lot of interests that are pushing to build and strengthen this whole NATO complex. And this war is giving them a great opportunity to do it. There should have been a very direct and full-hearted attempt to de-escalate and try to negotiate an outcome to this conflict before it started or very quickly after. But instead, what we saw was an influx of money and weapon systems which helped further escalate this war, and no attempt